When you do something good for someone, you might think it ends there. A simple act, a moment in time, finished and forgotten. But in reality, a good deed rarely stops with the person you help. Human beings are deeply interconnected. Psychologists call it prosocial contagion, meaning kindness is contagious. One smile, one helping hand, one moment of patience can inspire the person receiving it to pass it on to someone else, often without even realizing it. You might open the door for a stranger, and that small moment of courtesy could shift their mood, making them gentler in their interactions later that day. They might go home and treat their family with more kindness. Their children, in turn, learn by observing, and years later, they naturally show compassion to others, all because of something you thought was trivial. Philosophers have long understood this chain reaction. Aristotle spoke about virtues being cultivated through repeated action, but he also hinted at how those virtues affect the community as a whole. Your good actions contribute to what he called the common good, a shared moral environment that shapes the quality of life for everyone. In simpler terms, when you do good, you're not just making yourself a better person, you're making it easier for others to be better too. We live in a world where negativity often gets amplified in the news, on social media, even in daily conversations, but negativity spreads the same way kindness does. If we truly understood the ripple effect, we would realize we have a choice to fuel cycles of cynicism or to initiate waves of compassion. A kind word, a fair deal in business, forgiving someone when you could easily hold a grudge. These are not small things, they are seeds, and seeds grow. The beauty is, you might never see the full harvest of the seeds you plant. You may not know the stranger who decided to volunteer because they were moved by your example. You may never hear the gratitude from a person whose life was touched indirectly by your kindness, but the lack of recognition should not stop you, because the real measure of a good deed is not how visible it is, but how deeply it reverberates through hearts and minds you will never meet. Do enough good and you won't just change someone's day, you'll change the current of humanity itself. When we talk about doing good deeds, we often focus on the benefit to others. But there's another side to it that's just as important: what those deeds do to you. Character is not something we are born with fully formed. It's shaped, strengthened, and refined by what we choose to do day in and day out. Just as muscles grow through repeated use, moral strength develops through consistent action. The more you act with kindness, honesty, and compassion, the more those qualities become a natural part of who you are. Psychologists speak of the self-perception effect, the idea that we come to understand and define ourselves by observing our own behavior. If you regularly help others, your mind begins to see you as someone who is caring and reliable. That self-image, in turn, drives you to act in ways that match it. Over time, your character solidifies around these values. This is why people who practice generosity find it easier to be generous again, and why forgiving once makes it easier to forgive the next time. Philosophically, it's a process of alignment between what you believe is right and how you actually live. Many people admire virtues in theory but struggle to practice them when tested. It's in those moments of choice, when it's inconvenient, when no one is watching, that real character is forged. Good deeds are not just expressions of who you are, they are the tools that carve who you are becoming. And there is another layer: resilience. Life will test you. Challenges will come. But those who have built a habit of doing good develop an inner strength that makes them less likely to be bitter or hopeless when things go wrong. They've trained themselves to look outward rather than collapse inward. They understand that meaning is found not in comfort but in contribution. This is why the habit of doing good is more than just a moral duty. It's an investment in your own humanity. Each act is like a brick laid in the structure of your soul. Keep laying those bricks and you'll find yourself standing in a fortress of integrity that no hardship can easily shake. Build your character with the deeds you choose today, because the person you are becoming is the greatest legacy you will ever leave behind. When you make kindness and generosity a natural part of your life, something remarkable begins to happen. It doesn't just stay with you, it starts to influence the people around you. Human beings are social creatures. We're constantly learning from and adapting to our environment, even without realizing it. The values we practice have a way of setting the tone for our families, our workplaces, and our communities. When you consistently choose to do good, you are quietly setting a standard for others, showing them through your actions, not just your words, what is possible. Think about the places you enjoy being in the most. Often it's not about the scenery or the resources, it's about the atmosphere created by the people there. A home where respect, compassion, and generosity are the norm feels different from one where selfishness and harshness dominate. And here's the interesting part: those atmospheres don't just appear. They are built over time by repeated choices, by people who decide that they will live out values worth sharing. Sociologists call this norm setting, and it's one of the most powerful tools for shaping behavior. When you regularly help others, when you refuse to gossip, when you give without expecting anything back, you're making it easier for others to do the same. You're removing the social awkwardness or hesitation they might have felt. You're giving them permission in a way to act on the better impulses they already have. It's like planting a garden in the middle of a city. People might walk past at first without much thought, but as the flowers bloom, as the colors and scents spread, more and more will be drawn in. Some might even be inspired to start their own gardens, and before long the entire neighborhood looks different. One person's choice can spark a culture shift. The truth is, communities don't become kind by accident. They become kind because enough individuals make kindness a priority, until it becomes the unspoken rule rather than the rare exception. If you want to live in a world where generosity is normal, start by making it normal in your own circle. And remember, the culture you create around you might be the greatest gift you ever give to the next generation. One of the most common excuses people give for not doing more good is, "I don't have enough." Not enough time, not enough money, not enough energy. But here's the reality: the most impactful good deeds in history were often born out of simplicity, not abundance. If doing good required overflowing resources, the vast majority of the world would never be able to contribute. Yet we know that's not true. Every day, ordinary people with very little to spare still manage to change lives in profound ways. Psychologically, this excuse comes from what's known as a scarcity mindset. When we believe we don't have enough, we hold back, not only with our resources, but with our kindness, our attention, and our compassion. We think, "I'll give when I'm in a better position." The problem is that better position often never arrives because it's a moving target. And so opportunities pass us by, and lives we could have touched remain unchanged. Philosophically, the idea that you must have plenty before you can give contradicts the wisdom of countless moral traditions. Generosity has never been about the size of the act, but the sincerity behind it. A few minutes of your time to listen to someone can be worth more than a large sum of money. A genuine smile can lift a heart more than a costly gift. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ reminded us that even removing a harmful object from the path is an act of charity. That's not about wealth, it's about willingness. When you act from a place of willingness rather than waiting for abundance, something remarkable happens. Your resources, though small, begin to stretch. You discover that giving isn't a depletion, it's an investment. It builds trust, relationships, and a sense of meaning that money alone can't buy. And over time, this openness creates more opportunities, not fewer. The truth is, you already have enough to make a difference in someone's life today. It may not solve all their problems, but it can make this moment, this day, lighter for them. And sometimes that's exactly what they need to keep going. Don't wait for the perfect time to start doing good. The perfect time is the moment you have right now. There is a beautiful irony in doing good. While we often set out to help others, we end up helping ourselves just as much, if not more. Modern psychology confirms what ancient wisdom has always taught. Acts of kindness and generosity are not one-way transactions. They create a deep sense of purpose, boost emotional well-being, and strengthen our own resilience. When you step in to ease someone's burden, your brain releases chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, sometimes called the helper's high. These chemicals don't just make you feel good in the moment, they build long-term emotional stability and even improve physical health. But it goes deeper than biology. Doing good shifts your focus outward. When life gets hard, it's easy to become trapped inside your own problems, circling them over and over in your mind. Helping someone else breaks that cycle. It reminds you that you are not powerless, that you still have something valuable to offer. In serving others, you reclaim a sense of agency over your own life. Philosophically, it's the principle of reciprocity on a higher plane. The good you give has a way of finding its way back to you, not always in material form, but in opportunities, relationships, and inner peace. You might not receive help from the very person you helped, but life itself, through the people you meet and the moments you experience, will reflect that goodness back. Even in hardship, doing good can be an anchor. People who maintain habits of service often report that their struggles feel lighter, Not because their problems vanish, but because they are no longer the sole center of their attention. Their hearts expand to hold the needs of others, and in doing so, they make more space for hope and gratitude. So when you help someone, you're not just giving away your time, energy, or resources, you're also investing in your own emotional and spiritual growth. You're strengthening the very qualities that will carry you through life's storms. If you want to feel truly alive, truly connected, then give often, give. One of the most humbling truths about life is that none of us will be here forever. Long after we are gone, people may forget the details of our achievements, our possessions, or even our faces, but they will remember how we made them feel, the moments when we were there for them, the times when our kindness gave them hope. That is the essence of leaving a legacy, not in monuments or titles, but in the lives we've touched and the good we've set in motion. Psychologically, this ties into what researchers call symbolic immortality, the idea that human beings seek to live on through the impact they leave behind. We all have a deep need to believe our lives matter beyond our own lifespan. Good deeds fulfill that need in the purest way. A word of encouragement you give today may echo in someone's mind decades from now, influencing choices you will never witness. A lesson you teach by example can ripple through generations long after your name is forgotten. Philosophically, it's the idea that we are part of a much longer story. The world we live in today is the result of countless acts, big and small, by people who came before us. Some of them we remember, most we do not, but their impact is woven into the comfort, opportunities, and freedoms we now enjoy. In the same way, the good we do today becomes part of the foundation for those who come after us. The beauty is, your legacy doesn't have to be grand to be great. It is built moment by moment, choice by choice, in the way you treat the people in your home, your workplace, your neighborhood. You may never see the full extent of it, and you don't need to. Your role is to plant seeds, trusting that they will grow in ways you can't predict. So ask yourself, when you are gone, what traces of goodness will remain because you lived? What habits, values, and acts of kindness will outlast you? If you live each day with the intention of leaving the world better than you found it, then your life will speak for you long after your voice is silent. Sincerely, and watch how the goodness you send out circles back to brighten your own path.